The meeting of the Planning Commission will come into order. Please rise and follow Commissioner Duarte in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the Secretary please call roll?
Commissioner Owens,
Present.
Commissioner Fermetta,
Present.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Present.
Vice Chair Duarte,
Present.
and Chair Dominguez.
Present. Will those in attendance please read the cover page of the agenda as it outlines the procedure which the Commission will follow. This is a time set aside for oral communication with the Planning Commission. Does any Commissioner wish to express an announcement, report on a conference or a meeting, or request items for future agenda? Commissioner Fermetta.
None at the moment.
Commissioner Spathos.
None.
Commissioner Owens.
I have none, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Vice Chairman Duarte.
I have none.
Neither do I. Is the Director of Community Development aware of any presentations for tonight?
Chair Dominguez, no presentations tonight.
Thank you, sir. Does the Director of Community Development have any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda, Chairman.
Thank you. Does the Director of Community Development have a report on City Council actions?
No report tonight, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Now is the time set aside for public hearings. Public hearings for PLN-18-0018 is now open. Does the Secretary have proof of publication?
Yes, we do.
Will the Director of Community Development introduce the staff making the presentation?
Thank you, Chairman Dominguez. Tonight we have our Assistant Planner, Madeline Welch, to provide our presentation.
Good evening, Chairman Dominguez and members of the Planning Commission. Tonight you are being asked to consider a conditional use permit for Morisco Ciandico located at 10244 Lakewood Boulevard to operate with a Type 41 alcohol license. The property is zoned C2 for general commercial, and the proposed project is located in a 12-tenant commercial complex located to the east of Lakewood Boulevard and south of Florence Avenue. The surrounding uses include a medical office to the north, residential to the east and south, and a commercial center to the west, also known as Downey Square. The site meets parking requirements for the proposed use also. So here is the proposed floor plan on the right with the existing floor plan on the left. It is currently a juice bar and they do not sell alcohol, but they wish to convert the existing space into a seafood restaurant with the ancillary use or sale of beer and wine. So with this conversion into a seafood restaurant, the applicant will also be doing an interior tenant improvement to make the restroom become ADA compliant, as shown right here, as well as increasing the storage area at the rear of the space right here. The tenant improvement will be a total of 133 square feet and will only be using existing space, no exterior construction. There is an outdoor patio at the front of the restaurant along Lakewood Boulevard that was approved in 2013 as shown in the plans. And a condition has been placed to require the outdoor patio to be fenced in before an ABC license will be issued. There will be no live entertainment, and conditions have also been included to require that the sale of alcohol be incidental to the sale of food. This project was heard by the Development Review Committee on December 27th, 2018. No departments had any concerns, so the standard conditions of approval were incorporated into the recommended resolution. The police department just reinforced that the outdoor patio be enclosed with a fence and no entertainment or television on the patio. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Landavazo. Is that correct?
Welch.
What, wrong one? Welch, sorry. I'm sorry, Crystal. That's over here. Sorry, Crystal. Hi, how you doing? Yes, Ms. Welch. Thank you. Good job.
Thanks.
Pardon me. Okay. Commissioner Spathos, do you have any questions for Ms. Welch?
I do have questions. Thank you. Again, good presentation there. On page 2 of the discussion part, it references a Type 41 ABC license, which is a license, in my understanding, that dictates that food sales are to be more than alcohol sales on each individual transaction. Under the clause where it says on sale beer and wine eating place, parentheses, restaurant, authorizes a sale of beer and wine for consumption on or off the premises where sold. Is that an ABC condition, or is that something through the city that dictates that? Because on or off, to me, says they can buy food, go in for food, buy, however they sell it, a six-pack of beer or beer in a bucket, and consume off premises. Is that what that states in that paragraph there?
So this is through the AB definition of what the Type 41 license
Okay.
is.
So with that said, how do we address that as a city to restrict off-site consumption of alcohol? Or is there something that we do or do not do?
So for restaurants, the alcohol license to be served with food for an eating place is the Type 41.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and to clarify also, condition number 9 states alcoholic beverages shall not be sold for off-site consumption.
Answered my
So
question.
It's to function as a restaurant. Just very commonsensically, you're going to come in for a ceviche. You could have a beer with it. Also, just to be clear, in terms of the alcohol sales versus the food sales, the alcohol sales on a quarterly basis cannot exceed the food sales, not per purchase. It's over a quarterly aggregate basis. And what we do is if we receive complaints about a restaurant or an establishment, generally through the police department or through ABC, we then ask for audited records, and we'll look to see, in fact, what are their sales of alcohol versus food. And if there's continued violations, that could lead up to ultimately a revocation of that CUP.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, I had one more
Okay,
question
sure.
as well on something else I marked. So is the business currently operating as a restaurant or a juice bar?
it's a juice bar currently.
Okay. So on page 7, section 3, item A, it says the added sale of alcohol will complement the use of the restaurant. Is that the proposed new restaurant we're talking about?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So it's currently a juice bar. No food sold whatsoever?
No.
Okay.
Same owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
Very well. Commissioner Frometta, questions, please?
Not at the moment.
Commissioner Owens, questions, please?
None, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Vice Chairman Duarte, questions, please?
I just wanted to clarify what Commissioner Spatos had asked. In terms of the off-site consumption, does that include just if somebody uses Postmates or now these services that do deliveries? Are they restricted in terms of somebody orders alcohol during that part?
That is correct. Because there is a condition that's being placed on this approval, they would not be able to sell any alcoholic beverages for off-site consumption.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Very good. So let me follow up on that alcohol question. I believe a year ago or so we had another candidate up here, Mr. Schindler, who stated they were going to be allowing off-premise consumption or takeout, I guess is a better word, of unconsumed alcoholic beverages if they were sealed in some other container for transport out. Is that what this ABC license also allows for, or was that a different scenario?
I believe the answer is the same to what Crystal mentioned.
That's correct. I believe there may be a different ABC type of license for
Okay.
that, but the CUP that the city instills with its conditions will still override whatever the standard ABC license allows.
Thank you for the clarification. In the past, we've had provisions in the CUP for cleansing of sidewalks and adjacent footage, about 100 feet in either direction, for similar restaurants or entities within our city limits. I failed to see that here. Perhaps you can tell me where that's listed so I can clarify that in my notes.
Commissioner, it's not in there. I think the last time we saw that was with the adaptive reuse of the Avenue Theater. And the reason for that is there was going to be quite a bit of activity in the public right-of-way. They were going to have the standing shelving on Downey Avenue, right outside the Avenue Theater and their proposed pizza place. And so there was going to be excess food that could be dumped onto the sidewalk, so we wanted to make sure that they were going to be able to maintain it. Also, they're proposing to have outdoor downing in the public right-of-way as well, between the business, then you've got the sidewalk, then you've got their entryways. So once again, you've got an opportunity to dump food, and we wanted that area to be clean as well. In terms of how this outdoor dining area is laid out, I don't believe it encroaches much into the public right-of-way. If you guys, excuse me, if you commissioners want to consider adding that condition, that's your purview.
Thank you. Please describe the fencing that exists now and the proposed fencing.
So no fencing exists currently, and what is proposed or required is a 42-inch height iron rod.
Pardon me. Is there not a fence on that
So
picture
this-
you have?
Sorry, so this is a visual showing what the idea of it with the fenced in would be.
I'm sorry, that does not exist currently?
No.
Pardon me. Okay, so let's leave that there.
Okay.
So if we have outdoor seating, outdoor dining, possibly accumulated and flowing onto the public right-of-way and onto Lakewood Boulevard, and is that not a major artery leading to a bus stop?
The answer is yes to all above.
Very well. So we will discuss further my discussion on the clearing of the peripheral of the premise. I have no further questions. Thank you for your time. Great presentation.
I do have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Too late.
Where is the alcohol going to be stored?
Oh, yeah. So in this proposed, for the tenant improvement, they're increasing the storage area. So in the back, there will be a locked cabinet back here storing alcohol, as well as a refrigerated case behind the counter in the front where the employee works. Stands.
So it's not draft. It's bottles, cans.
Mhm.
And that will be served in the bottle or in a can or poured. Do we know? Just curious.
I can defer that question to the applicant.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Before I call the applicant or his or her representative, this will be the time for any planning commissioner to discuss any pre-hearing site visits. Hearing discussions the commission may have had regarding the project.
Check the boxes.
Commissioner Spathos.
I did do a drive-by earlier yesterday, Chairman.
Thanks. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Fermetta.
I visited the site last night, as well as this afternoon.
Commissioner Owens.
None, thank you.
Vice Chairman Duarte.
No disclosures.
I have no disclosure that I'm familiar with the area. Will the applicant and his or her applicant, pardon me, I'm having a frog in my throat, his or her representative, please come forward and give testimony. Please state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Alex Barola. I'm representing the applicant, and it's 17671 Irvine Boulevard, City of Tustin, 92780 is the address.
Thank you very much, sir. Would you like to give testimony regarding your application?
I just want to kind of reiterate some of the points that we talked about, or you talked about. She does not intend to sell off-site or to go or delivered. That's not her intention. It's just an ancillary to her food. She's changing her menu. She always had the love of seafood, and she thinks that it would be a benefit to the community if they buy her product. And as far as the cleanliness goes, she her intention is to always keep it clean and looking great. Her restaurant looking great for the public. And the fencing will meet all ABC requirements. The height, the style will meet the architecture of the building, something kind of similar to the building. And as far as her alcohol storage, it won't be more than 5% of her total storage for her store. Again, it's only an ancillary product, and it will be stored at room temperature and put in the display case, refrigerated display case, as needed. And I'm open to any other questions.
Thank you, sir. Is the applicant actually here?
They're both here.
Okay, well, come forward and say hello. We're not going to bite you.
Come on, Roberto and Estela. Their English is limited.
No worries.
Hi.
Bienvenidos. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Sí, sí. So, Commissioner Frometa, do you have any questions?
No. Not at the moment.
Commissioner Spathos.
Just a question that I'm curious about. Have you operated a restaurant in the past, or has the juice bar been there since the beginning? What made you decide to go into the restaurant business and apply for an alcohol license?
And she does sell food in her restaurant currently. Empanadas, which is a stuffed bread, and tortas.
Okay.
Like sandwiches. But
Me gusta como hacer más menú. Me gusta siempre ir innovando, estar innovando, haciendo cosas que la gente más le guste, ¿no?
yeah, she wants to be innovative in what she sells and what the public is asking for. And she wants to make that a reality.
So the customers are asking for alcohol when they go in, or is it more?
Well, el alcohol, porque
I'm done with juice.
Comer
Where's the alcohol?
empanadas argentinas es típico tomar
Got any rum?
un vaso de cerveza o vino. Es
O
algo
el
típico
marisco,
en mi
¿verdad?
país, o el marisco también.
I guess it's complimentary to her menu. If somebody would like alcohol with that type of food, that it goes well with that food, and she just wants to offer that. So that's.
Is there mariscos in there now? Because you mentioned you sell food. Is there anything
No.
related to seafood at all?
No seafood.
Okay.
She's changing her menu completely, and
So you guys are changing everything in there, including obviously menu, design, to make it a
the
full-fledged.
restaurant will have more storage, more refrigeration, more prep area to accommodate her menu and the demands of the food that's being.
So I think the direct question is, so you guys are changing to become a full-fledged restaurant? Because there's a big difference between the two, so I'm trying to understand.
Right, yeah. Si quieres cambiar a que sea restaurante.
Sí.
Yeah, a full-fledged legitimate restaurant.
Okay, that's all.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Owens.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Garola, and thank you to the applicants. So I'm looking at the site plan, and then if Ms. Welch could pull up the picture from the Lakewood frontage. All right. And that's to the left side, certainly would continue to exist, and the hedges in the front would change to a wrought iron.
Yeah, the wrought iron does not exist. That's just that depicts just what it would look like and what area it encompasses. The hedge, however, is existing. Yes,
Is existing. in that-
and I think that helps with any wind that blows paper off the table. It might catch it, but stop it from blowing into Lakewood.
out. Yeah. So the hedge will remain. Is there wrought iron behind it?
Yes, it'll continue
okay.
behind it.
All
yeah.
right. And then continuing with just the questions, the way this site works, it looks like, on the two-dimensional, is a little left of Corex is the ingress and egress to all the suites contained in that shopping center?
Yes, there is a sidewalk, enough sidewalk room where they go around, and the floor plan probably better depicts that. So we're not encroaching into the sidewalk or their path of travel to the other establishments.
Tenants?
Yeah, but it does have a gate that is ADA accessible, and there's ample room for them to maneuver anybody in a way.
Okay, so if you're driving, certainly northbound Lakewood, and you're going to turn right-hand, turn it into the parking area, park, walk up the walk, and access the front door from the Lakewood side, that's the only door that will be open?
That would be the only door, yes.
Nothing in the rear?
Nothing in the rear, yeah. It'll even their delivery that will take, it'll be at early morning hours, will come through the front.
Is there anything that restricts a rear entrance, other than not having, say, the layout for that?
It is a B occupancy, less than 50 people, and the egress would just require one exit.
Okay, all right. Those are all my questions, thank you.
Thank you.
I do. I have a question on the fencing. The fence will meet the ADA requirement, the door entrance?
Are you talking about the patio on
The patio, yes.
Yeah. And right there, it kind of it has the 36 inches clear, and it opens. It should open to the going out. Yeah.
It should open in both directions.
Yeah. Whatever is required to meet
In both
ADA.
directions.
And the strike, there will be 18 inches on the push end and the pull end, on the strike end. So we'll make sure that that's depicted on the plans.
Yeah, I just want to make sure a person in a wheelchair will be able to
Right.
freely go in and be able to exit without an issue.
Correct.
Yes, Commissioners, any of those improvements that are done must comply with the State of California building standards and also any state and federal ADA standards.
Question? Vice Chairman Duarte.
No questions.
Okay. So I want to direct this to you, sir. It has been our standard here that any restaurant that comes in or comes before us, we assign a COP in order to keep Downey beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So the addition of the wrought iron, the maintenance of the vegetation, I think is good. What has been standard is we've added stipulations, especially in downtown Downey, for extension of the responsibility of the restaurant to clean the storefront footage up to 100 feet. That might be a little excessive here. So I'd like for you to discuss with your clients if they would be willing to accept an amendment at this point where they would be responsible for maintaining the cleanliness of the Lakewood sidewalks, at least to the extension to the end of the neighboring businesses.
Okay. So it would be 100 feet to.
No, I think 100 feet might be too much. So I think it's like 15 feet per storefront, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So if we take a look at wherever Cortex ends, and I don't know what the next one is, but wherever that ends, if they could sort of keep that tidy and clean, I think that might be something we can entertain up here.
I'm so sorry about this. Let me turn off my phone here.
There's a 1 coffee charge on that one.
Estela Roberto, con la ciudad siempre quieren tener limpio.
I don't know.
No, las cosas así.
Building to building.
Pero quieren extenderlo al lugar. ¿Quieres el otro lugar? De lo que es lo ancho de cada negocio.
think it's right now, it's on the side.
The walk.
Yeah.
Sería algo que les piden si no se oponen a hacerlo.
Claro, el cartel ese ya no está, por si le preguntan. El sign de arriba, lo sacamos.
Oh, el que...
Sí, porque también nos
ok.
pidieron sacar eso. Ya lo removimos, estaba más alto.
Okay. Okay, she's willing to
Wonderful. Well, gracias, gracias.
and
Okay.
she owns the building next door.
Oh, okay, very
the,
good.
business next door.
So then you want to make sure that stays beautiful also, right?
So she could go even another.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll keep that, in mind, but we'll put in a stipulation to address our needs here, and you can do as you desire an extension on their own accord. Okay. All right. I believe Chairman Owens has another question.
One more question, if you don't mind. The sign, the illuminated sign, the panel will change with the new restaurant name and
Yes.
and artwork.
And they took off the old sign already,
Ya está
and
removido.
it's going to have the new sign. Yes.
Kind of the same dimensions,
Yes, the same.
same rectangular shape.
El mismo tamaño y el mismo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, the same. The same.
Va a
the-
ser más chico.
Va a ser más chico.
Do we have a stipulation on the new signs with being backlit and all that?
Oh,
Por eso lo sacamos, van a estar al nivel del...
I'm sorry. Yeah, I misunderstood. It's going to be smaller, actually. It's going to look just like the other adjacent signs. And I think that sign was too big, and they're going to reduce it to meet the standards of the center. Yes.
Thank you both very much.
And
And they'll follow the sign criteria that Downey puts in.
Could I direct my question to the staff, please?
What will happen, as the applicant has indicated, the sign that's currently there is non-conforming, so it'll be replaced with a conforming sign that'll be internally illuminated, but it'll be a box sign like the rest.
Is that what we're moving forward to here in Downey? I thought we had a difference of regulations on having some sort of uniformity with signs throughout the city.
What you folks have seen are sign programs that come where we're able to exercise a little more authority in terms of uniformity and maybe some little splashier signs. With this remodel, the code does allow for them to do another box sign as long as it meets the code in terms of dimensions and size.
Okay, thank you.
I have one last
Madam?
question, and I'll translate. She's the owner of the property. Eres la dueña
No,
del
not the property.
No.
The tenant.
tenant.
Yes.
Okay.
And she has the other business next door as a tenant as well.
Okay.
Okay. So my questions completely just went away.
Okay.
Thank you.
If I could comment further on the sign, maybe you might want to take advantage to spice it up if you're allowed to do so, instead of from a box to something more appealing. Not that the box is not.
Yeah, whatever the city. And I imagine the owner of the center. So
Got it. Yeah,
if she was the owner of the center, I think she would like to
really. Yeah, I mean,
make it nice. Yeah.
you could go different, sure.
Are there any questions from the rest of the commissioners? Okay. Bueno, buena suerte y gracias.
All right, thank you. Thank you
so much.
for your time.
Thank you for coming. Has there been any correspondence either in favor or opposition?
No, staff did not receive any correspondence.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to speak either in favor or opposition of the application? Please stay focused on the item at hand. Please be courteous, be respectful.
¿Por qué?
5 minutes.
¿Por qué? ¿Por qué sigo siendo Mr. Steven Dominguez? ¿Dónde vas? Ven para atrás. Venga para acá. See, when you discriminate against people who want a DBA in Downey, this is the perfect setup. This is the perfect setup. You didn't offer translation. You didn't inquire if the plaintiff seeking the business at this establishment had a choice to postpone this meeting and have the opportunity to have a translator. And the whole disrespect about the sign. Sign doesn't bother anybody. The sign never bothered anybody. It only bothered you up to today because you wanted to meet your standard. Well, what if people don't have extra money to incorporate into their business because they're already dishing out money to meet the ADA 2010 standard and meet the criteria of providing van accessible parking for the disabled? Mr. Duarte, think about that. How would you feel if it was your parent or a family member or a wetback like me that stood here and didn't have the same capacity and level of communication? How would you feel? Intimidated? Very much. And the way Mr. Owens brought out and re-brought out about the sign, how you brought about the fencing. If there was no fencing picture in the proposal, why would you put one up there that doesn't meet the plan now? Why do you always amend things while you're doing the process here? This is what got Aldo Schindler in trouble last week because of gateways. Bringing to the attention information about gateway meetings and probably taking a kickback. Misusing state and federal dollars. So the foregoing willful intention of this planning commission is to structure around a person's overall quality of life. Can they afford extra money to spend out? Running a restaurant business, and I'll tell the world today for the record, is very, very, very difficult. And you must sell alcohol. You must have necessity and convenience to get drunk, be sober, or beat sobriety. What the hell does that mean? It means that you can't judge people for going into a restaurant and choosing to become intoxicated. You could judge them after the fact. They are liable for the responsibility of their action. For a reaction, you get an action. Responsibility comes from individuals, not by what you say and think and believe, because as I heard earlier, I and we believe. Bullshit. Bullshit. Stick to the plan. Don't recreate, don't add, don't amend at the last minute. You've been doing this for 3 years now. It's upsetting. You bring conditions in at the last minute. You sabotage the restaurant business. You chase away people doing business in Downey. Don't become shakers. Don't be asking for a bribe here. Don't be asking for an Aldo bribe there. Stick to the plan. Gateways will happen regardless whether Aldo gets paid by developers, whether he gets paid by business owners who want to develop in the city of Downey and congest this little city into the big city of Los Angeles, Gargantula. Did you not hear what the taxpayer said about businesses? We're not going to give you more money till you fix the problems that you already create. What am I referring to? Loser Buettner, loser Garcetti, for the record. Poor, shaky business people, shoddy business people. Thank you for coming back to listen, Mr. Steve. ¿Por qué sigue siendo? Let me translate that since you don't have a translator. Stop being a sinner like the Bishop of Mont Catholic Church of Salesian that allowed Jose Weezer, the drunk, to get involved in a DUI.
Your time's over, sir. Thank you. Sit down. Is
Planning Commissioners, I'd like to address an inaccuracy by Mr. Herman. On the back of your agenda is, at the very bottom, there are language there about how folks who need translation services can get in touch with us. So that's one point I'd like to make. We always make that available. They can get in touch with us by email, telephone. We've provided all kinds of ways to request accommodations of those sorts. So those are available. In this particular case, though, the applicant brought a translator. So when they bring a translator, There's no need for additional translator to be here. They've got their translator. Had they not had a translator, we would have provided one. But they brought their own translator, and the applicant's representative, who acted as the translator, did just fine. And he spoke to the applicants in Spanish, and then translated in English to you. I didn't see any problems with that legally. I thought that was fine. There's no legal issue here. So it's all much ado about nothing. Thank you.
You're absolutely correct, and it's very consistent with what we've heard from the last speaker consistently over the last few years, and I doubt that's going to change. So his misrepresentation of facts continues, and we'll just move on. Thank you very much. Would the applicant like to present for a rebuttal of anything that he heard here forth?
Well, I spoke to the applicants, and she just, on record, she doesn't know who this person is. We do agree to the conditions that were presented to us.
Speak to the commission, sir, please.
Yeah, sure. And we do agree to the conditions that were put in, and I think they're going to enhance her restaurant. It's nothing bad, or any conditions that we talked about, they're all on board for, and that's about it.
Well, thank you. We're sensitive to whatever condemnation they might have received or indifference they must have felt from us or from anyone else, but clearly we're here to provide a fair and impartial assessment, and whoever speaks from the public needs to be considered in that realm. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Does the planning staff have a recommendation?
Yes, staff recommends Planning Commission adopt Resolution 19-3093, approving conditional use permit for PLN-18-00188.
The hearing on PLN-18-00188 is now closed. Now it's time for our discussion. Commissioner Frometta.
No, I have no concern. I visited your restaurant. I wish you success. Visité hoy a tu restaurante y te deseo lo mejor. I have no further question.
This is a time for we discuss amongst ourselves things that are pertinent to the articles that are before us. So now it's time to discuss whether there's something here we want to discuss internally and then address formally with staff or otherwise. So, Commissioner Spathos.
I would like to include in one of the conditions on page 3 of the PC agenda, Development Review Committee, no exterior entertainment or television on the patio to be put in, if it suits item number 13, noise generation, to include possibly no exterior speakers, live entertainment, or television on the patio. I don't see that in the conditions, but it is in the developmental review on page 3. So if we can add that, if possible.
There's condition 8. I don't know if that was
So the only condition that I see that it would work for is number 13. Is that okay?
I think it's a question of your body here,
Right.
in terms of first approving if you want to insert the language, and then I think it's.
Well, it's in there already. Why isn't it a condition? Is it just?
That's a good pickup.
Mr. Chair, if I may, condition 8 has just a very broad, there shall be no live entertainment within the business at any time.
Mhm.
That would maybe be the best condition where we can further expand
Okay.
it to also include the outdoor dining area.
You're saying item number 8?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure, and once again, to be clear, that's for the commission to discuss, and if you folks approve it, then that's where I think we can help facilitate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. In the past, we've had those type of disclosures where there's no live entertainment, there's no television. The operator will maintain less than 65 decibels of noise, ambient noise. Also, no ticket sales, no I guess I'm losing the term here. Yeah, pay-per-view, things of that nature. We've seen that consistently. I won't speak for the staff. I'll let them speak as to why it's not here. But I think it might be appropriate. Yeah. Would the staff like to comment on why that's not included in this venue?
Yeah, most definitely, because it's just adding beer and wine to a restaurant. It's not an entertainment use. And so we usually add that where you have an entertainment use so that we can help manage the entertainment use not going over the edge.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Does that satisfy your question, Commissioner?
It does, but I would like to include it either way since it is already mentioned in the previous pages.
Okay, let's make a motion then.
I make a motion to include, as recommended by staff on item number 8, no live entertainment within the business at any time, to include exterior speakers and television on the patio.
Do I hear a second?
You know, are you folks going to have other conditions you'd like to add? Because if so, I think we should do a sweeping motion at the end when you approve it, based on all of the conditions that you're going to add. If it's just that one and you're going to approve the project with that one, then fine. But I heard that there might be others, and I just wanted to make sure to capture all of your interests.
I kind of want to discuss this a little one further. Yeah. You know, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. I think that we need to vote on this, but I think that your language is okay. I'm glad it didn't go as far as the previous ones. So I won't think it'll be cumbersome to the applicant to include that. I don't think their intention is to have live entertainment speakers or TV anyways, and I consider that a good pickup. So may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Owens,
Aye.
Commissioner Frometta,
Aye.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Aye.
Vice Chair Duarte,
Aye.
and Chair Dominguez.
Aye. Okay, that will be added to the CUP under number 8 with the above language, please. Right?
We'll read it back. We'll read it back once we've sorted out all the conditions you want to add. Then we'll read them all back to you.
Okay. Commissioner Spathos, do you have any other discussion?
That's all on that item.
Thank you. Commissioner Owens?
No, I have none. I think this is a welcome change, nice change, addition. I don't think anywhere in that part of Lakewood Boulevard, other than Sizzler, some seafood may be at the offering that I'm aware of, H Salt or wherever the fish place is called now, but certainly not Mariscos. So I think it's a good add. I think for the benefit of that whole shopping center, it brings another level, of business. So best of luck.
All right, stay focused. Commissioner Duarte, do we have any discussion on this?
I think the only discussion, if we want to talk about, is the beautification part in terms of keeping the area clean out on Lakewood Boulevard. That's probably a condition that I think it was mentioned by our commissioner here, so I think that's a good idea if we want to discuss that.
Okay. I'm in favor of that. I think that it's consistent with what we've been addressing here the last few years. I think it fits into our beautification plan of Downey, and clearly the applicant doesn't have an objection to maintaining the sidewalks in a cleanly manner. Would anyone else like to discuss that, pro or con? Okay.
Did you want to amend any of the conditions to that? You picked out a number, maybe you want to enhance that language or add that language?
Yeah, I think that'll be a separate addition because I don't see anything that fits. Do you have a motion, Commissioner?
Yeah, let
Vice
me see if it just has, trying to see if it would fit, maybe adding it on to 6 or a separate one.
Okay, maybe we can ask the staff for guidance once we have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
That.
Is there specifics in it that we're adding on it?
There is.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe we should discuss the specifics before we.
Yes, I agree.
Yep, so the specifics would be keeping the sidewalk on Lakewood Boulevard from, I guess, I don't know if we're doing feet or from the north and south end of the actual building, clean during all hours of operation.
Yeah, in the past, we've had 100 feet in either direction. I think that may be a little much.
Yeah.
So I think, given the location, the size of, I think they're about 15, 20 feet wide, may be appropriate to have their responsibility end at the next business southern edge and the next business's northern edge, hours of operation, and I'm going to need help here, clarification. On the other side, we said up to like a couple of hours after closure. Yeah, so they intend to close at
Midnight.
12, so they got to maintain it at least a couple hours after that. So I think that's what we've had in the past. So if you want to make a motion to that effect or something different, it's up to you.
Yeah, I guess the motion would be, I don't know if we would add it to 6 to add that they keep the sidewalks on Lakewood up to the next building directly north and south of the business, clean until 2 hours after closure.
Yeah, so it would be, I think more specific would be the northernmost edge of the adjacent business and the southernmost edge of the adjacent business.
Yeah.
Right, that way you get
The
perimeters,
driveways.
right? Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the external, not the internal or budding business, right? Wall, right? Does that make sense, staff, the way we described it, or would you like to clean it up?
Well, I just 2 questions.
Yes.
First question is, so that condition's only specific to the building frontage onto Lakewood, correct? Because it also fronts into the park, there it also exits out to the parking lot, correct? Yeah, so we're only talking about the area that fronts onto Lakewood, correct?
Good question. I believe we've done the frontage on the others without looking at the alleys or parking lots in the past. If I'm wrong, please correct me.
No, as I mentioned, the most recent example we have is the Avenue Theater, and that one's unique because you've got a lot of activity occurring on Downey Avenue, city-owned parking lot off of 3rd Street.
So again, my question is, did we have any stipulations for alleys or parking lots in the past?
No, we haven't. Once again, it's only unique to the Avenue Theater based on the 3 ingress and egress points of that use.
So to maintain consistency, I would probably recommend that we stay consistent with just the frontage of the Lakewood Boulevard.
Oh, okay. So just Lakewood Boulevard.
Unless it's the desire of my comrades, otherwise no.
I don't believe this business has a back door, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it
It
does.
has a door to the storage, but it's
For
not an
storage only.
entrance.
Is not a egress, public egress, or entrance?
Yes, staff?
Sorry. The back door will be locked and not used.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
What was the second issue?
Oh, it was more of a comment. This should be a standalone condition. I think it works better as a standalone as opposed to incorporated. We can turn it into new condition number 15.
15. Okay.
So can we have a motion, Commissioner?
A motion.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Duarte, could you describe your motion, please?
Motion. Well, I don't know if the staff was fleshed out that language or not. If they could maybe provide some language.
Mr. Chair, if I may, the proposed language that staff has put together is must maintain Lakewood Boulevard from the northernmost edge through the southernmost edge of the adjacent tenant spaces free and clear of trash and debris during all hours of operation and up to 2 hours after closure.
Yeah, I got distracted. Could you read that first sentence again, please?
Must maintain Lakewood Boulevard from the northernmost edge through the southernmost edge of adjacent tenant spaces free and clear of trash and debris during all hours of operation and up to 2 hours after closure.
Thank you, hold on.
He had something else, back to music.
Okay.
After that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Vice Chairman, does that satisfy your
Yes.
desire for a motion?
Yes.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to adopt, add condition 15 as stated by staff.
We have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call?
Commissioner Owens,
Aye.
Commissioner Frometta,
Aye.
Commissioner Spathopoulos,
Aye.
Vice Chair Duarte,
Aye.
and Chair Dominguez.
Aye. Okay. Commissioner Fermetta?
I want to go back really quickly to the live and music entertainment, which I'm in agreement with the TV outside and the speaker.
There
But
is none.
There is none.
There's
right.
none, yeah.
There's none. But are we also limiting them to none in the inside as to ambient music?
We can do that, right, Yvette?
Staff, are they going to be able to have ambient music inside?
Well, I'll ask that of staff.
There is no prohibition to noise with ambient noise within the restaurant so long as they're maintaining compliance with the city's noise regulations.
Yeah, and do we have that 65 decibel in here?
Yeah.
Do.
Okay.
That would be
Or
condition
13.
number 13.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Fermetta?
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that
Okay, thank you, sir.
they know that they can have a little bit of music in the inside.
Wonderful. Do you have any other further questions or
That's my last question.
items for discussion? Okay. Commissioner Owens?
None, thank you.
Commissioner Spathos?
None.
Vice Chairman Duarte?
None.
Okay. So it is the pleasure of this planning commission in total. Do we have a motion to accept condition or conditional use permit PLN-18-00-188 with the stated and amended
Conditions.
conditions?
Second. You made the motion?
I'll make the motion then. Okay, I have made a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call please, Ryan.
Vote is now open. Please place your votes.
That's funny. You made your own motion?
And the motion passes to adopt Resolution 19-3093 to adopt, I apologize, to approve PLN 18-00188 for a conditional use permit with all five in favor with added conditions and amended conditions as stated.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Non-agenda public comment. This portion provides an opportunity for the public to address the Planning Commission items with the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission and not listed on the agenda. It's requested that you state your name and address and the subject matter in which to speak, which is pertinent to the Planning Commission. Would like to present.
Comment. Stevie, violations of First, Fifth, 14th Amendment, and Article Section 2 of the California Constitution regarding enforcement of unconstitutional rules of decorum. I find you guilty at fault for some of this, Mr. Dominguez, because you're not following the rules. You have to stick to the rules of decorum. The public here at the podium are the legislative body who control the beast of the city. We decide what is good for the city, and we decide what is good and fair for the city to do with our tax-paying dollars. Incidentally, though, as you heard in the newspaper regarding our mayor, Rick Rodriguez, he made some First Amendment argument regarding style, intensifiers, the way one publicizes their opinion. And that's what scares people to come up here, is when you censor and you mitigate what people will say up here at the podium. That's what I'm talking about. First Amendment, 42 U.S.C. 1983. Mr. Dominguez, you may be a great doctor, Mr. Dominguez, but the law is the greatest avenue to success of free speech. brought to you by Plato and Socrates. And because of a First Amendment, sometimes I feel intimidated to come up here and speak further because I just don't know how you're going to respond and rebuttal, and don't allow me to argue back and rebuttal. You see, this here is the people's floor in their 2 minutes, 1 minute, 60 seconds, or 5 minutes. And when you engage to censor us and take our time away and not provide us free speech, then it becomes unconstitutional. And that's where it gets dirty. That's where the city officials have unbridled discretion to enforce their rules, or these rules of the Brown Act, 54950 to 54963. However, the acts that I complain about herein are towards intimidation of a speaker. Well, I don't want to hear that in my facility. Well, I'm sorry, Janice Hahn. I'm sorry, Sheila Q. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I am not. Because you engage in the censorship of free speech. You are as much a terrorist organization when you censor people. You keep hearing fake news and it's all about Trump. No, it's all about your democracy. The rules of democracy that the Democrats and the Republicans continue to violate, but mainly Democrats in California. Go Trump 45. He got balls, and I believe in a shrewd businessman who puts tariffs to correct the problems that America has put in the United States and made the majority of us homeless. HHH. And I'm glad the taxpayers see behind the scene that they're tired of paying taxes like that fake tax measure EEE to, oh, let us help our children. You're not helping our children. You have no intention to help our children. Because if you did, 75% of children in Downey, 75% of children in every school, public school, would be in college today. So let's take it serious. First Amendment. The failure to enact laws and rules to give reasonable notice of activities subject to criminalizing public speakers, Mr. Dominguez. Failure to adopt a precise standard. Stick with it. And maybe together we learn, because we're not teaching each other anything when you want to rebuttal and you don't allow the speaker to rebuttal back in return. 42 U.S.C. 1983. Call 202-225-1766, Washington, D.C. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Calendar items. We're going to talk about consent calendar now.
Chairman, you have another speaker.
Yes. Okay. I am so sorry, sir. Please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Solomon Navar. My wife, Oralia. We live at 8019 Berkman Lane in Downey. We live close, like a few feet away from the Temple Cantina. And we have an issue. We don't have nothing against the business, which is great, but the noise every weekend is up to 1 or 2 in the morning. And some of the guys that are after the restaurant, they go near our house and start talking pretty hard and all that noise. And sometimes there's music in there too. So it's very hard for her to go to sleep and me go to work next day. I go at 6 in the morning, every day except Sunday. Sometimes she has to sleep, like, in a way of saying it, in a closet, because the noise is so loud. We have called the police, but they go and then they lower it down, but they keep on going up again.
Probably we are not in the right place, but one of the neighbors told us to come and say something about the noise. I have a few videos. I take it in the night, and all the things I hear you say about something illegal, like a TV and the patio, the alcohol is in the parking lot. It's apartment next to you. And we talked to the owner at the restaurant, and he's a nice person. He said, I have every permit and the right things. So we don't know what else we can do. We call the police, and we don't want to call the police every week. I don't know if one of you guys say, come and do something in the business hours or something. So we need help. That's what I heard, okay? And all you guys say in this region is help, because he do everything the opposite way you say.
Thank you. We're
Thank you
sensitive
very
to your
much.
needs. Could you give me the name and address of that business again?
It's on Paramount Boulevard, Tiempo Cantina.
Tempo Cantina. Yeah.
Okay. Could we call for a report from the police department next time on the services and what's been done,
CUP review.
and maybe a CUP review? What do you think, Aldo?
Not so much a CUP review. What we'll do is, first and foremost, folks, thank you for coming. We appreciate the information. Madeline will chat with you afterwards and collect your information. You mentioned you'd called the police department. I wouldn't be shy to continue to do that in the future. Call them anytime that you think there's a disturbance that's bothering you. Also, what you can do is you can call our code enforcement officers, and Madeline's going to take down your information so that we can have somebody contact you so that we can help address these issues in the future as well. For the Planning Commission, because the issue is brought to our attention, we'll provide you a report for calls for service since they open their doors, and also any activity that we have with code enforcement.
So I mentioned a CUP review, and you said no. Could you elucidate and educate?
Sure. This is the first complaint that we've received as of recently with the new owners there, and so once again, we'd like to see, what is the what's been the habitual issue? How long has it continued? What data the police department has? What data the code enforcement has? We need to collect that data and share it with you first before we bring them up on to review their CUP.
So you mentioned it's a new business. Do you know when this new business was established, and what was there prior?
Now, I don't know the specific date of the operation of this new business. It's not the same business owner as the one that received the conditional use permit, but conditional use permits run with the land and not the business, so they inherited all of those conditions. So once again, they should be operating under those conditions. Specifically, here is the noise that they're generating both on-site and with their patrons. But once again, our best source of information is going to be the police department in terms of the calls for service, what they were, what their suggested remedies are, and also, more importantly, our communication with the residents to see what we can do to help alleviate their concerns.
This is a few things we hear in the night. This is taken from my bedroom. It's not a good video, but you can hear. See, it's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is the most. So if you can help us, I don't know if we are in the right place, but thank you for.
We do appreciate you coming, and we take it very seriously. Aldo and the staff will certainly look into this. How long has this been a problem?
Start like December. They do the opening in November, so.
And the previous owner was not causing issues for you?
No.
No. Okay. So.
Before it's a restaurant, my sister lived right there in the parking lot for 30 years. We lived there for 10 years. It's nice, but now it's crazy.
Oh, Salvatore's.
Original.
So
Gotcha.
I think we should leave it at that.
Okay.
It'll go to staff and code enforcement. I would caution to reserve any judgment
Sure.
until or unless it comes back to you, because you'll all have to give due process.
Yeah.
So we'll leave the discussion there.
So, Aldo, when do you want to schedule this for presentation to us?
Actually, I'd like to collect the data and share it with you online. And then after consulting with the chief of police and our city attorney, determine once again how we proceed forward with that. I think most importantly, we're going to act quickly, notify the business that we receive complaints. Also, we want to see what the complaint pattern has been since the new operator has established his business. Also, follow up with the residents and let them know what resources they have and how we can help.
Thank you very much for
We
coming.
don't want to create any issues within the restaurant and us. We like the place. It's really nice, but the problem is the noise, that's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who would like to present for non-agenda public comments? Okay, consent calendar. We have items in the consent calendar. I understand that Commissioner Spathos is to be excused from items 2 and 3. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So that still leaves a forum for the remainder of us to look at the consent calendar items. Does any commissioner want to extract one and speak on it or discuss it individually, or would you like to we should have a motion on it en bloc?
I'll make a motion to include all of them in the approval.
Do I have a second?
We'll need to call for public comment.
So we have to call for
Yes.
we have public comment then? Okay.
Comments limited to items on the consent calendar only.
I've done it before.
Consent calendar. Are we talking about items 2, 3, and 4?
2, 3, 4, and 5.
Is that the one with the Roman numerals 5, 6, 7, 8 lines on it? V, 1, 2, 3 lines on it?
Items under consent calendar.
Okay, so we're talking about the minutes of September 19, 2018?
2, 3, 4, and 5.
And also we're talking about the minutes of October 17, 2018?
Items 2, 3, 4, and 5.
And then we're also talking about the consistency of the capital improvement program for 2019-2020 fiscal year as consistent with the general plan. Am I right, Madam Attorney, for the record?
This is public comment.
So yes, then I'm right. So again, most people cannot relate to the information on hand. Most people, like myself, ask for accommodations, but apparently I cannot get them because it's difficult. Because elderly people and disabled people have challenges of having a computer that's accessible, and because our library is down, which is part of the plan of a capital improvement, most residents in Downey can't use the public library. So that's what's unfair. And in regards to, here it is. Here we go. In regards to the capital improvements, because I found your book in the back, I happened to glance through it, which most of us should be able to do. It pointed out that under these capital improvements of $113.40 million upgrades and repavement and sidewalk repairs, traffic safety, wells, and park upgrades, aforementioned general plan and goal. Well, have you met the ADA compliance that I petitioned? How many years ago was that, Madam Attorney, for the record? About 2.5 years ago? 3? Anyways, and this is in regard to section code 65401, the State of California Government Code. And this is regarding how to find the CIP. For those of you who don't know what a CIP is, because even I forget what that is, Capital Improvement Plan, to be consistent. Well, has it been consistent? Like I said, Mr. Schindler Aldo promised Gateway meetings would be open to the public. And when I went to Cerritos at 11 a.m., well, most of you have to work, and I was the only consistent constituent in Cerritos representing gateway cities. I found it very disturbing that there was only 8 meals for the 12 members of that panel. So transparency is an issue here. Consistency is an issue here when it comes to $113.4 million for gateway cities for upgrades and a request for the final tract number 81331, 2 parcels into 1 parcel. All this ideas about so-called CIPs. So in regards to that, I really hope that Aldo is not padding his wallet from any of this money, or any one of you, with federal state dollars being pumped into these programs like gateway cities or capital improvement projects that have been delayed, postponed, or been targeted for a time and you forgot to do the job. Especially like Downey Library. You couldn't find a bid, you promised a bid, you didn't get it. Now we're caught up with bid fights. Pretty pathetic. Steven Dominguez is laughing because he knows I'm right. I'm glad to see Steve's on my side. It's a 2-2 vote here, and Steve and I are on top this time. And that's why the city of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti and his gateway cities is failing horribly. It proves that stealing federal and state dollars and an FBI investigation will come to an end eventually. Thank you.
So let's discuss the consent calendar, or do we have a motion to proceed?
I had made a motion to take all items under the consent calendar as one motion to approve.
We have a first, do we have a second? Second. We have a roll call?
Commissioner Owens?
Aye.
Commissioner Frometta?
Aye.
Commissioner Spathopoulos?
You can't vote.
Abstain.
He's abstaining.
Okay.
And Vice,
Which item?
He's abstaining from items number 2 and 3.
Okay,
Uh,
the other,
4 and 5?
the balance of those items he can vote on.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Mary.
that's okay. And Vice Chair Duarte?
Aye.
And Chair Dominguez?
Aye. Do we have any other new business, or does any commissioner have any business to discuss?
Did you want to click your vote up there on the screen?
Oh, okay, sorry, formality. There you go. Okay. Commissioner Spathos.
None.
Commissioner Frometta.
None.
Commissioner Owens.
None, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Vice Chairman Duarte.
No, thank you.
I have none also. Does the Director of Community Development have any additional comments?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Dominguez. I wanted to remind the Commission that we have a retreat scheduled for June 17th at the Columbia Memorial Space Center at 6 p.m. Also, we have minutes once again where we have a lack of a quorum and we need to take a volunteer to watch a video. I'd like to remind you that Commissioner Spathos diligently watched the video that he had volunteered to do so we have an ability to vote on those minutes in the near future, and now I'm soliciting a volunteer to view the minutes of the November 7th, 2018 meeting.
Who was missing?
Yeah, who didn't?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a good question. Let's see. We need Commissioner Owens, Commissioner Dominguez, or Commissioner Spathos to watch the
I nominate Commissioner Owens.
I was going to say Commissioner Sapopoulos. He did such a great job. I'll do it.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Owens.
That was November 7th, 2018.
Yes, sir. I'll email you the specifics with the links to
Thank you.
get that going.
Was it
Are we done, Aldo?
Was it a long meeting?
Anything else, Aldo?
Yeah, it was 4.5.
No, thank you, Chairman.
Okay. This adjourns our meeting.